Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Autumn Szyminski, and I'm glad to have you here today to share this butterfly carving. We're going to carve a butterfly on a gourd with a Dremel. This is a very basic design for beginners. Before we get started, we need to think about safety first. You're going to need goggles to keep pieces of the gourd from flying in your eye, or maybe a drill bit get loose. You need to be sure to wear a mask to keep the dust out of your lungs and your nose. And you want to be sure to wear a glove on the hand that doesn't have the drill so that you won't poke a drill bit through your hand. Getting started, you will need a template. So you can make your own template. You can download from online. You can get silhouettes of just about anything you want. Or you can draw your template in your studio and then trace it onto your gourd. I'm using a fine line Sharpie to put this on the gourd. No problem if it, don't worry about it not coming off, because by the time we get through drilling and carving, it will be gone. Not a problem. And otherwise, it'll clean off anyway. You don't have to use a Sharpie. You can use any type of pen, pencil, whatever you want to put your design on there. You can even freehand it on there if you don't want to make a template. We're using a tungsten carbide bullet bit with a medium point to go around the outside of the butterfly to find the design. We're just doing the initial carving around it to find it and begin to put the depth in the design. We'll keep going over it until we get it the depth that we want. I use a Dremel 3000 with a flex shaft. Very good drill. It's real easy to handle. It's lightweight. Very nice. Pull the bit towards you gently. Keep it on about a 45-degree angle. Don't try to push it away from you, or it'll bump and jump and make you put cuts where you don't want them. We're going around now, getting more and more depth on the edge of the butterfly, and at the same time I'm laying the bit almost on its side, and I'm going backwards, and I'm blending the carved portion into the uncarved portion, so we have a smooth transition there. So as you go around, you want to get your depth and then feather back. Always feather back. That's where that large white area is where we've feathered back to blend it into the uncarved part of the gourd. And we'll just keep going, gently pulling it to us until it gets deep enough. We don't want to go through the gourd. It takes experience to figure out how far you can go, especially if you haven't cut the gourd and you don't know how thick the skin is. So just take it easy and get that depth. See, we're feathering back right now. And then as we go along, you're going to start to see a shadow. See that shadow at the end of the tip of the bit? That means we're beginning to get some depth there around that butterfly wing. When you see shadows, you know you're doing the right thing, because you want to get it deep enough to see good shadows so that it gives you the perception that the butterfly is coming up off the gourd, not attached to it. And if you watch the end of that drill bit, you'll see those shadows pop in there. Feathering back and blending. See that shadow? Right there on the edge of that wing. We'll get the depth that we want, and then we'll take another bit and we'll cut underneath there. Cut right up underneath the butterfly and make it look even more like it's coming up separate from the gourd. That's the beauty of carving, and the deeper you go, the prettier it is. Just take your time, pull it to you. Now, as we get up here near the head of the butterfly, you're going to see where I went around it. I forgot to mark where the antennas are, and I just go right around the head, and I take material off that I really shouldn't have for the antenna. So that means that you need to pay attention where you're going, watch for the detail areas, because when you take too much material off, you're in trouble because you can't put it back. But I've left enough there that we can still put the antenna on there. But we sure did forget about them. We're just going right around that head and forgetting all about the antenna. Blending it back. You'll see the other designs on this gourd. I've done videos on them to show you how they're done. This is my demo gourd. I've fallen in love with it. I was going to cut a hole in it and put a lid on it. But I decided it's so pretty, we'll just keep adding creatures to it. And then in the next video, I will show you how to put the texture in there that you see up next to some of these other dragonflies. Now we'll get into the designs that I put on the wings for us. They're just little exercises for you to practice using that bullet bit there. The circles I usually put in with the ball bit. It's a bit that's just like got a ball on the end of it. I usually just put the circles in there with that. It's very easy, but we can use this bit here. It'll be just fine. You can do just about anything with the bullet bit. Now these designs are very basic. They're just to teach you maneuvers with this bullet bit. That's all it is. It's just strictly exercises for you here. Don't look for perfection between the two wings. It's not going to be the same. I just freehanded it on there. Like I said, it's a beginner learning video, and I'm just teaching you how to use your drill bit there. On the next video, we're going to do a butterfly that'll be a whole lot more complicated and a good challenge. You'll like it. It's going to be very pretty. But this here is teaching you the basics. We got to take baby steps. These are our baby steps. Just putting them circles in there. When you do circles like that, dotted, little holes, I sometimes will drop Swarovski crystals down in there. I use diamond cut crystals and set them in there in the small holes. These larger holes, you can put stones in as well, or you can put stained glass in there. We're pulling some curved lines. Teach you how to pull things nice and smooth. And then we're putting diagonals in there. You'll see we're putting in diagonal lines. designs around the outside edge of the wing. And that teaches you some steadiness and some control. You can make those holes as deep as you want to, the dots on the butterfly, depending if you want to lay something in there, do some inlay. You can make them deeper if needed. Just be careful not to go through the gourd. If you ever do go through the gourd, no problem. We can turn that into art too. It happens. I've gone through a few myself. Get them outside designs there on the edge of the wing. We still need to go around the butterfly a little bit more and get a lot deeper on those outside edges. Okay, now let's have some fun and put the antennas in there. And keep it steady, stay right up close to your line, and make a nice, fine, thin antenna. Continue to feather back as you go, right in between them antennas. We still got to feather back and make it blend into the uncarved part of the gourd, so there's no transition there. Very smooth transition. You'll see a shadow start to appear there on the sides of the antenna. That means we're getting nice and deep. Getting them way in there. Now we're kind of forming the body a little bit. We don't want it to be flat, so we'll be forming the edges of him, kind of rounding him out a little bit. I'm going to try not to have flat work. You always want to round out your edges mostly and give it dimension. Now we're going around the edge of the butterfly wings. We're rounding them out a little bit. We don't want to have sharp drop-offs, sharp edges. We want everything to be nice and smooth. So going around the edge of the butterfly, see there, we're rounding that out. Smoothing those edges. Give them a lot more finished look. All the way around him. So we're adding more shape to the body, kind of fine-tuning it a little bit. We're still going around and smoothing the edges of the wings. Get those nice. We're just creating the form, cleaning it up, getting rid of those flat edges. I want the edges to be soft and curved. Now I've put some color on the wings so that I can see the detail better. I colored the body and the wings. That helps me know where to take off material when I need to. It helps me to see where I've been, where I'm going. And I also changed a bit. We've got the diamond cone bit on there with the blunt nose. Getting up underneath the wings now and under the body, creating more depth underneath there. We're undercutting. See there, we're going up underneath that wing. And then when you see me going back and forth a lot, that's when I'm smoothing out. I'm smoothing out and feathering it back. And then when I go straight in like that, I'm cutting in up underneath there. And the deeper we go, the more shadow you're gonna see at the edge of the wings. This is called undercutting. It really helps set off your work really nicely. You have to undercut when you're carving. We're going to undercut everywhere. Like we're going around the head. We're going to do the feelers, the antenna. I started calling them antlers. Well, it's almost 2 in the morning, so a lot of us YouTubers, we do our stuff around 2 o'clock in the morning. It's a lot less expensive to do your uploads that way. So a lot of us are up like this. It's 1:03 a.m. I'm probably going to make a few mistakes here and there. Look at them pretty designs on that gourd. Now we're taking a 200 grit nail file and we're blending that in, cleaning it up real nice before we go any farther. It's real important that you do that. And I also buy the buffing blocks that you use on nails, the white buffing blocks. Nail file works great. 200 grit. You don't want to get a heavy grit because then you're going to put deep cuts in your gourd in your work. You don't want to do that. But rounding him out, smoothing him down, blending where we feathered. We're blending those feathers in there real good. With the paint on there, it really helps me see where I've been and where I need to go, and clean it out real good so you know what you're doing. Especially when you're undercutting, because you got to be able to see where you've been undercutting. See that shadow there on the side of that wing and the shadow on the antennas? That means we're getting there. Look how deep those shadows are there. So that's what you want. Trying to make sure you see those shadows. That's what undercutting does. Oh, I guess we're going to look at it again. I want to make sure you see that. I'm still learning about all this editing. I'm not all that great yet, but I'm working on it. For a 75-year-old woman, I don't think I'm doing too bad. At least I'm trying. See that texture in there next to them other dragonflies? See that pretty texture? I'll teach you how to do that in the next video. So we're going to take and put some blue around the outside edges, a little bit darker blue. You don't need to worry about getting it on the gourd because you're still going to be doing more carving around those edges. And if you touch the gourd with the paint, it's not a problem. It'll be coming off anyway. You just want to be sure you cover the butterfly wings real good. So don't worry about getting it on the gourd itself down there. And I'm just using a regular craft paint. You can use any color you want to. In the description box down below, I'll put the colors that I did use in case you want to use them. Sometimes I think it's beautiful to not paint it, just leave the carved pieces alone and natural and just put the polyurethane on them. The shine that you see on this butterfly that we're working on is from polyurethane. I use Minwax Clear oil-based polyurethane. I love it. Puts a beautiful shine on the work. And I'll be doing that again at the end of this video. You won't see me do it, but I'll be putting it where we've been feathering back, that lighter area, and that'll just put it back to its natural color, and it'll be the same color as before. The Minwax polyurethane is almost odorless. You don't smell anything. It's really nice to work with, and it dries fairly fast. If you set your work in a sunny area, they'll just dry real fast. But you want to be sure you're not in dust and hair and lint. This is a pretty large gourd. It's probably a little over a foot in diameter. I grow my own gourds. Sometime this week or the first part of next week, I'm going to be putting some seeds in some egg cartons and getting them started. I like to plant them the first part of March, first week of March. So I'll get the seeds started in the house and then plant them in March. So I'll be doing a video on that so you'll know how to grow your own gourds if you want to. They make beautiful plants. They have gorgeous yellow flowers on them. Make beautiful vines, great big leaves. One plant will cover a lot of area, so you don't want to plant them too close together. And they're fun to grow. You get all kinds of seeds, so you can get all different kinds of gourds. Bottleneck gourds, which make great birdhouses. These kind here, the big round ones, they make very nice bowls and vases, and you just can make wonderful things with them. They're actually a fine art medium now. So here we're using a small diamond bit. It's a ball on the end of it. It's called a ball bit. It's a diamond ball bit to make these small holes in the wings, and that's where you can set some diamond cut stones in if you want to. Like I put the Swarovski crystals in there a lot. You got to have the diamond cut, not the flat ones. The diamond ones will fit right down in there perfectly. But we won't do that on this video. We'll just paint in there. And you can see where I put some teardrops on the end of those curves. I don't know where that file went to, but you just take the point of your bullet bit and you make some little curves there. That's good practice for you. Make little comets. So get you some practice wood and practice making some of those comets. Pull the curved lines and then put the little teardrops on the end of them. That's excellent practice for you. I'm putting more of those little dots around there. So you'll learn how to use your bullet bit, your diamond cone, and your diamond ball bit, 1/4 inch ball bit in this video. It's good exercise. The bits are not expensive. You can get a whole set of 5 or 6 of them for not a whole lot of money. The diamond bits wear out quicker than the tungsten carbide bits. The bullet bit that you were using is a tungsten carbide bit. They're real sharp. They last a lot longer. And if you need to clean them, you can just take a copper brush, and brush them out a little bit, and they'll be good to go. So I've put some black dots in there, and I've taken some 24 karat gold Extreme Sheen by Deco Art and filling in the teardrop areas. And then we'll be taking my fine liner brush and we'll be going around the edges with it. In the small holes that we put with the diamond bit, I put some purple pizzazz in there. There's that liner brush. That's custom made. Being a hairstylist, I got pretty sharp scissors, so I took and trimmed the hairs on that brush, which you really do need sharp scissors for that. I left a few hairs to work with. And there's your 24 karat gold. You want to be sure you have it thin enough to spread evenly, but not too watery. You just want it thin enough for lining. We did this video in real time, so it's a long video, but you can't have a tutorial for beginners and put it on high speed. Nobody will learn anything. So if you're wanting to learn, here it is. Check out my other videos on mandala art and dot art. I've been doing a lot of that here lately. I'm just now getting my videos going. After I broke my back, I had some time off there, and then this last summer I had a total knee replacement, which I'm trying to come back from, and kind of slowed me down a little bit, but I'm not giving up. You're going to see some really good videos, so be sure you like and subscribe. Jump on the wagon with me, and we'll have a nice journey. I'm going to put out some really good stuff and a lot of variety, a lot of good subject matter, and a lot of different variety and different mediums. And bear with me, I'll get the technology worked out here soon. I want you to see the finished product and see how that Minwax clear polyurethane just naturally puts it back to its natural color. It don't even have a stain in it. It's so cool how it does that. And it just puts a pretty shine on it and cleans it all up. Boy, it's cold tonight here in Oklahoma. Well, for me it's cold. It's going to get down in the 20s tonight, but tomorrow will be in the 60s. We live about 5 miles from the Red River. Very pretty here. I'm sure glad I don't live up north where it really gets cold. I used to live in Salida, Colorado, which is very high up and gets very cold and lots of snow, but I loved that. It's a different cold. It's drier, not humid like it is here. It seems like that humidity just goes to the bone. Put some stripes on his little body, and we'll Put him some eyes in there and he'll be ready to go. Now we'll go around it with a little bit of black. Kind of finish it off there. We're about done, people. Hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Be sure to like and subscribe. Help me out. Help me get going here. Let me know what you'd like me to do, what you'd like me to carve, and we'll do it. There's nothing we can't carve. Nothing any of us can't do if we want to do it bad enough, right? That's what I always say. And I've already put a coat of polyurethane on the butterfly. You can see he has a little bit of a shine. That helps when you're doing this fine lining like this. If you make a mistake, it's real easy to wipe off. You don't mess up the paint underneath that way. It's all sealed. You take a damp Q-tip and you can clean up your mistakes real easy. And I always clean it up after I do my videos. I go over it later and clean it up because nobody's perfect, right? So there you have it. It's all done. See how that polyurethane blended that natural tone in there? It doesn't have a shine yet because it needs 2 or 3 more coats because of where we filed it back, but it brings it back to its natural color, just like that. But I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching, and subscribe and stay on this journey with me. We'll have a great time. See you on the next video. For a while.